right, this is chapter 4, lesson 1, terminating and repeating decimals. So, any fraction can be expressed as a decimal by dividing the numerator by the denominator. The decimal form of a fraction is called a blank blank. Repeating decimals can be represented using blank blank. In bar notation, a bar is drawn only over the digit or digits that repeat. So, in those blanks, you're going to put repeating decimal and bar notation. So the decimal form of a fraction is called a repeating decimal. Repeating decimals can be represented using bar notation. In bar notation, a bar is drawn only over the digit or digits that repeat. So you can see 0.3 repeating has 0.3 with a bar over top of it. When 1, 2, 1, 2 repeats, the bar is drawn over 1 and 2, both of them. In this case, 11.385858. The 3 doesn't repeat, but the 8, 5 does. So the bar is drawn across the 8 and the 5, but not the 3. If the repeating digit is 0, the decimal is a blank blank. In that blank, you're going to write terminating decimal. So if the repeating digit is 0, the decimal is a terminating decimal. The terminating decimal, 0.250 with the bar across the 0, is typically only written as 0.25. So once you get to that 0, it just kind of stops. All right? All right, so let's take a look at a couple of examples. So it says write fractions as decimals. Our decimal system is based on powers of 10, such as 10, 100, and 1,000. If the denominator of a fraction is a power of 10, you can use place value to write the fraction as a decimal. So complete the table below, write fractions in simplest form. So we can see 7 tenths, 7 over 10, which is 0.7. Okay, so the decimal. 19 hundredths, so that's the hundredths place. So this is 19 over 100, which is 0.19. 105 thousandths. So this is 105 thousandths. So 105 over 1,000, which is 0.105. If the denominator of a fraction is a factor of 10, 100, 1,000, or any greater power of 10, you can use mental math and place value. Okay. If we're writing decimals as fractions, every terminating decimal can be written as a fraction with a denominator of 10, 100, or 1,000, or a greater power of 10. Use place value of the final digit as the denominator. So find the fraction of the fish in the aquarium that are goldfish. So goldfish are 0.15, or 15 hundredths. So that's 15 over 100, which I can simplify to 3 over 20. So 3 over 20 of the fish are goldfish. Then I have writing each fraction or mixed number as a decimal. So not all of these are powers of 10. So you can see 74 over 100 is 74 over 100, which is 0.74. 7 over 20, I can change to 100, 35 over 100 equals 0.35. 5 3/4, I can ignore the 5 and do 3/4, which is 0.75, equals 5.75. I add the 5 in at the end. Okay, 3/8. So what you're doing here is dividing 3 divided by 8. Now, you can either do this long way or you can use a calculator. Okay, so if I use a calculator, here's a calculator, all right, you do 3 divided by 8. Okay, notice that you get a decimal. Okay, that's the point. So 3 divided by 8 is 0.375. negative 1/40, I do 1 divided by 40, and I get negative 0.025. You can basically ignore the negative until you get to the end. And then 7/9 is 0.77, and it keeps going on forever, so the 7 repeats. Notice I didn't draw the bar over 7 and 7, both 7s. I just drew the bar over the last one. Okay, that shows that's the number that repeats. Not 77, just 7. Okay? All right, there are a couple of try problems out. I want you to go ahead, pause the video, try them out, and when you're done, we'll go over the answers together. All right, now that you've had a chance to try out the try problems, let's go over the answers together. So, the first one I have is 3/10. Okay, so I'm just dividing 3 divided by 10, which is 0.3. Then I have negative 6½ I ignore the negative 6 out front. 1/2 is 0.5 because I can change 1/2 to 0.5. So I get negative 6.5. Negative 7/8. 8 I cannot change to a power of 10, so I'm going to divide. 7 divided by 8 gives me 0.875. Okay, and there's a negative out in front. 8 1/3. I'm going to ignore the 8. 1/3 I can't change, which is 0.3 repeating. So that's 8.3 repeating. Okay. The next two I have are Molly and Guppy, and they want me to change the decimals that are given for those into fractions. All right, so a Molly is 0.2. So I'm going to change that to a fraction. So 0.2 or 2/10 is 2/10, and I divide both of these by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, 10 divided by 2 is 5. So 1/5 is a fraction in simplest form. And then Guppies are 0.2, or, sorry, that was a Molly. Yeah, that was Molly. Guppies are 0.25 or 25/100. So 25/100, and I divide both of these by 25. I get 1/4, so Guppies are 1/4. And that is the end of Chapter 4, Lesson 1. And that is the end of Chapter 4, Lesson 1.